reaping the benefits from early fall planted cover crops in the Northeast. Cover crops can be used to do many things, such as recycle nutrients from the subsoil, improve soil fertility, alleviate soil compaction, improve plant available water, suppress weeds, protect soil from erosion, and provide forage. The surface mulch of a killed cover crop maintains soil moisture content that can help to preserve plant health in the heat of summer. Cover crop roots that grow deep in late fall, winter, and spring can create pathways for summer crops for deeper root penetration into the subsoil. Research has shown that more cover crop roots in the subsoil resulted in more corn roots in the subsoil in the following crop. Some cover crops absorb large amounts of nutrients in their leaves and in their roots, such as the radish that absorbs large amounts of sulfur in leaves and roots, as well as large amounts of calcium in their leaves. Nutrients absorbed by the cover crops from the subsoil as well as from the topsoil are concentrated in the cover crop biomass and then released when that cover crop dies, and that can result in higher available nutrient content where the cover crop used to be, such as shown here for radishes, where we see a concentration of phosphorus along the line of the old radish roots. The importance to absorb nutrients from top and subsoil after summer crops and make them available to following crops is especially important for highly mobile nutrients such as nitrogen. Our research from 29 farms in the Mid-Atlantic region showed that in September, the top 7 feet of soil contained on average more than 250 pounds per acre of mineral nitrogen. This nitrogen is highly vulnerable to loss by leaching if it is not absorbed by living cover crop roots, because nitrogen uptake by corn roots is very small after this point. Our research showed that the amount of mineral nitrogen left after soybeans was even greater than that left after corn. While nitrogen absorbed by cover crops is preserved from loss by leaching, the release of this nitrogen to the following crop may be too slow to meet its demands, especially when these cover crops have a high C/N ratio. Our research showed that early corn growth was slowed down due to slow nitrogen release after cereal cover crops. If these cereals were mixed with broadleaves, early corn growth was the same as without a cover crop. After a winter-killed cover crop such as radish, however, nutrient release matched the needs of following corn very well, resulting in a boost in early corn growth. It is often assumed that most nitrogen absorbed by cover crops that winter kill in January is lost to groundwater before corn is planted in early spring. However, research from Beltsville, Maryland showed that if the winter-killed cover crop was established before the 1st of October, spring nitrate concentrations at 3 feet depth were greatly reduced after winter killed, as well as after winter surviving cover crops. This was confirmed in this research that shows that nitrate concentrations at 100 centimeters or more than 3 feet depth were similarly reduced until mid-April after winter surviving, as well as after winter killed cover crops, as long as the cover crops were established early. The way it works is illustrated in this figure. Cover crops established early, in this case in August, take up nitrogen from the top and subsoil until they almost deplete the mineral nitrogen in the top and subsoil in November, accumulating up to 200 pounds per acre of nitrogen in top and root growth. The cover crop typically winter kills around the end of December, after which nitrogen is released by decomposition of its biomass. This nitrogen, however, stays in the topsoil and is available for uptake by the following summer crop. How deep early planted cover crop roots can grow was demonstrated in a field day on the Maryland shore.
Radish over roots, so that you find some nodules on them. Good radish growth. This radish, oh yeah, but if you're looking at roots, I want you to notice
all the way
the
down
roots
there.
are down here.
Yeah.
Okay, You take a look at these. Come on and find them yourself. You'll find lots of. The big roots aren't what does. You know, the big roots are impressive.
It's the little ones.
It's the little ones that take up the nutrients. So they're down here, and these are cover crop roots.
The importance of early planting of cover crops is further illustrated in this graph. The green line shows nitrogen uptake by the summer crop with greatest uptake in July and August. If this is followed by an early planted cover crop, most nitrogen is preserved. Early planted cover crops take up nitrogen from the top as well as from the subsoil because cover crop roots penetrate deep into the subsoil. If the cover crop is planted late, however, nitrogen uptake is much smaller and mostly limited to the topsoil. This results in much greater nitrogen loss by leaching. In fact, the difference in nitrate leaching between no cover crop and a late planted cover crop becomes quite small. This research has shown that early fall planted cover crops enable deep root growth in the fall. This enables large quantities of nutrients to be absorbed from top and subsoil. These nutrients will be released back into the topsoil when the cover crops die. Even winter-killed cover crops, if planted early enough, can absorb large quantities of nitrogen from the subsoil and reduce nitrate losses, similarly to winter-hardy cover crops. The release of nitrogen from winter-killed cover crops may be better synchronized with the nitrogen needs of the following summer crops than that of winter-hardy cover crops. The key, of course, is to establish cover crops early in the fall or late summer. And based on our research, the critical dates seem to be no later than October 1st in Maryland and no later than mid-August in central Pennsylvania conditions. This research has shown the importance of early planting of cover crops for deep root penetration. This can help improve rooting depth of following summer crops and also increases nutrient uptake and recycling. But how can cover crops be established early? Here are some options. It is easiest after small grain harvest. Another option is after corn silage harvest. It may also be possible after early harvested, early maturing corn and soybean varieties. And finally, cover crops can be relay intercropped by interseeding or broadcasting into standing crops.